This is Plant-Based Briefing, review of the plant-based nutrition and lifestyle medicine news of August 2025, Part 3 by Dr. Shireen Kassam at plantbasedhealthprofessionals.com. And I'm Marian Erickson. This is the Plant-Based Podcast where I curate and narrate, with permission, a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. This article was longer, so it's a three-parter. I've read the previous 2 parts already, so go back and listen to those and then jump back here for the third and final. And now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. Review of the plant-based nutrition and lifestyle medicine news of August 2025, Part 3 by Dr. Shireen Kassam at Plant-Based Health Professionals UK. Omega-3 fats, rethinking DHA and EPA for a sustainable future. For over 50 years, the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids EPA and DHA have been linked to heart, brain, and eye health. Higher intakes are associated with reduced risk of heart disease, dementia, and premature death, with emerging benefits for conditions such as fatty liver disease and obesity. Yet despite their importance, most people in the UK and globally consume far less than recommended, with average intakes under 250 milligrams per day compared to guidance of 450 to 500. For vegans and many vegetarians, intakes are close to zero given the absence of fish from their diet. This new review highlights 2 important realities. First, relying on oily fish is neither sustainable nor sufficient. Farmed salmon today contains about half the omega-3 it did 20 years ago, while global demand for fish far exceeds supply, contributing to overfishing and environmental damage. Second, even for those who do eat fish, intake levels remain too low to reach optimal blood levels of omega-3, suggesting the need for broader strategies. What does this mean for people on a plant-based diet? While the body can convert some alpha-linoleic acid, or ALA, found in flax, chia, and walnuts, into EPA and DHA, conversion to DHA is limited. This raises ongoing questions about whether direct supplementation with algae oil, the only reliable vegan source of EPA and DHA, should be recommended. Evidence from trials shows algae oil raises blood omega-3 levels just as effectively as fish oil, supporting its role as a sustainable alternative. The review also explores promising innovations such as bioengineered oil seeds like camelina and canola, and fortified plant foods, which could help close the global supply gap. Importantly, the review suggests that current recommendations may actually be too low. While 450 to 500 milligrams per day is advised, cardiovascular and anti-inflammatory benefits often require intakes closer to 1 to 1.5 grams daily, especially if we consider omega-3 index of greater than 8% as optimal for cardiovascular health outcomes. Cognitive benefits may also depend on higher intakes, with EPA showing particular promise for supporting brain function. For those on a plant-based diet, the jury is out with regards to the need for DHA or EPA supplementation. For certain life stages, such as pregnancy and lactation, and in babies and young children up to the age of 2 years, it is considered essential. The updated guidance from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics in the U.S. does not consider DHA or EPA supplements essential for adults on a vegan or vegetarian diet. There are some intervention studies in the pipeline that will hopefully answer some of these outstanding questions in the near future. And physical activity across life: how much, how long, and why it matters. Physical inactivity is one of the leading global risk factors for death. Yet much of the evidence linking activity to health outcomes comes from studies that measured it at just one point in time. A major new systematic review and meta-analysis covering 85 prospective studies and millions of participants has now looked at how physical activity patterns over the life course shape health and survival. The findings are striking. Adults who were consistently active throughout life had about a 30 to 40% lower risk of dying from any cause, and a similar reduction in cardiovascular mortality compared to those who remained inactive. Encouragingly, people who increased their activity later in adulthood still gained substantial benefits, with around 20 to 25% lower risk of premature death. In contrast, people who reduced their activity over time lost much of this protection, highlighting the importance of maintaining movement throughout life. The analysis also confirmed the dose-response relationship, meeting the current World Health Organization guidelines of at least 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, or 75 minutes of vigorous activity, was enough to cut the risk of early death by about 1/3. Even activity levels below these recommendations provided measurable benefits, reminding us that some movement is always better than none. Beyond the guideline range, however, additional benefits were smaller, suggesting that the biggest gains come from moving inactive people into the guideline zone. This life course approach underscores an important message. It is never too late to start, but consistency matters most. Activity patterns that persist into older age bring the greatest protection, particularly against cardiovascular disease. The study also suggests that leisure time activity, walking, cycling, sports, confers stronger benefits than occupational or incidental movement, likely because it is more sustained and intentional. Taken together, all these studies show that the building blocks of health are the same across conditions and across the life course: a diet based on whole plant foods, limited ultra-processed foods, regular physical activity, restorative sleep, meaningful social connection, and attention to environmental and social determinants. The evidence is not only strong, but increasingly precise, with long-term randomized and meta-analytic data showing the same consistent patterns. The challenge now is not a lack of knowledge, but a lack of implementation. Lifestyle medicine must become central to routine care, backed by supportive policies and food environments that make the healthy choice the easy choice. As health professionals, advocates, and community members, we have the opportunity to ensure that the science of prevention becomes the practice of everyday health. You just listened to Review of the Plant-Based Nutrition and Lifestyle Medicine News of August 2025, Part 3 by Dr. Shireen Kassam at Plant-Based Health Professionals UK. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. Please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.